You've probably wanted to make your own color changing potion before and thought it was too complicated. And I thought the same thing when I started out. And I promise it's way simpler than you think. So today I'm breaking down the 6 essentials that you actually need to make a color changing potion of your very own. If you're new here, hi, my name's Christina. I run a small magical handmade business where I make enchanted decor, and color changing potions are one of them, which means I have made a lot of mistakes, but you don't have to. Now let's get started with the obvious. First thing you're gonna need, a potion bottle. Now, the cheapest place that I've found potion bottles is Hobby Lobby, especially when they are having their 50% off sale. Michael's sometimes has good options, but I found that they don't have a large selection, and so they're not my go-to. If you want more unique shaped bottles, I've ordered from a company called Glass Now before, and they are a glass bottle manufacturing company, meaning that they have some very unique shaped bottles. However, just be aware that they are on the pricier side, especially when it comes to shipping. And of course, there's always Amazon. Before we go any further, I need to talk to you about corks. Because if you want to make a color changing potions, you cannot just use the corks that the bottles come with. These corks, they are not watertight, they're not airtight, and they will betray you. Trust me. So if you want your potions to last, you have a couple of options. One of them is using twist top bottles. Now, these don't always look as apothecary and vintage as you might be going for. However, just know you can cover up the caps with wax. You just don't get that classic potion look like you would with a cork. You can also use rubber corks. These are a really great option. However, something to be aware of when you put them in your potion bottles and are sealing them, you need to make sure that you have something weighted to put on top of them, like really heavy couple of books, because the corks will start to slowly rise out of the potion. So putting something heavy on top of them for at least like 24 hours while the glue cures is going to prevent any type of leaking. And the last thing is, a lot of potion makers will cover their corks in UV resin. This isn't something that I've done a lot, but I have done it. And if you are comfortable with using UV resin, then that may be the option you want to go with. Just be aware that when you're using UV resin, you're going to have to use and invest in PPE. So just keep that in mind. And then the last option is investing in higher quality corks. Now, when I was going down the rabbit hole, I came across this company, which makes corks. They make solid corks, which are a higher grade and a better quality of cork. However, they are quite expensive, and I've had some mixed experiences with those. So I'll link them below if you want to look into it and do some research on them. For me, I tend to stick with twist top bottles and rubber corks, but you can experiment and see which ones you like best. The second thing you're going to need to make a color changing potion is a liquid base. And this is the actual liquid in the potion bottle. Most potion makers either use isopropyl alcohol or distilled water, and each has its pros and cons. Distilled water is great, but it doesn't always stop mold from growing in your potions, and that is something that can happen. Isopropyl alcohol helps prevent mold, but it doesn't always interact well with different inclusions in your potions. They can have their color stripped away by sitting in the alcohol for too long. Now, if you don't want to use alcohol at all, there are other things you can add to your water that can help it from not molding. What I'm most familiar with is vegetable glycerin. This can help with mold. It also does thicken your potion a bit, so the swirl has a different type of effect, but I'm not that familiar with using glycerin. It's not really my bag, and you can check with other potion makers out there. What I use a mix of distilled water and alcohol. In case I didn't already add my warning, please don't use tap water. Just don't. Your potion will mold in like a week or two. Trust me. Ask me how I know, just don't even try it. The third thing you'll need for your color changing potion is a base color. This is the color that the potion is going to be the majority of the time. It's the color that shows when the potion is settled. You can use a lot of different things to color your liquid, alcohol inks, dyes, but the cheapest and easiest thing I found is liquid food coloring, and specifically liquid because it mixes in better with the potions. Remember, before we get to the next thing, is that when it comes to your base color, it is easier with color changing changing potion to go from light to dark than dark to light. And what I mean by that is making a potion that turns from pink to purple is going to be a lot easier than making a potion that turns from purple to pink. So your base color is really important because it will show through the next thing you're going to add to actually make the color changing aspect of the potion. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking of colors for your next design. The fourth thing that you'll need for your color changing potion, the special magical ingredient, is mica powder. This is what makes your potion actually have the color changing swirl effect. Mica powder is the same stuff you find in makeup like eyeshadow, and when you add it to the water and shake the potion, it's the mica that's swirling around that you are seeing, and it gives that color changing effect. Mica powder can be fairly cheap, and if you are just starting out, I highly suggest getting some on Amazon because you can get a decent amount of colors for not that much. But not all mica powder is created equally. If you're doing this because you want to sell them, you're going to want to invest in better quality mica powder. And you can find higher quality mica powder at companies like Eye Candy and Mayspring. Now, these companies, they are not sponsoring me. I just love their products and they're really worth it. Specifically, Eye Candy, you can get a lot of their colors in sample sizes that are way cheaper than buying the larger sizes, and they have more unique options, such as my favorite, their 14 karat nugget gold, which has these like larger particles and make the potion look way more sparkly. The fifth thing that you're going to need for your potion is wax. When I first started making potions, I didn't know what kind of wax to use, and I quickly found out that candle wax and crayons are not the way to go. The wax that is used on potion bottles is called sealing wax, and if you're just starting out, I'd suggest getting a sealing wax kit from Amazon, which comes with everything you're going to need, including wax bead, wax warmers, and the spoon. You can get these for around $15 to $20 on Amazon, and they will last you for a long time. The other thing I discovered when I started making potions is glue gun wax. These are sealing wax sticks that go into a regular glue gun, and they make the process so much easier, especially when it comes to controlling the flow of your wax. And if you want to know more about sealing wax, I'm a nerd, so I wrote a Substack article about it. I'll link it below. And the sixth and final thing that you are going to need for your color changing potion is a potion label. Canva is my go-to for creating potion labels. You can use their assets to make your own creation, or you can find free vintage public domain images and build unique labels around those. When it comes to actually attaching the labels to the bottle, I use sticker paper. It is a lot easier and simpler to print on sticker paper and then cut it out and put it on your bottle. But if you don't want to buy sticker paper, always use regular printer paper and then stick them on your bottle using Mod Podge. And that's it. Those are the 6 essentials that you will need to create a color changing potion. It's not complicated. It's just glass, some liquid, some pigment, and then your imagination. If you want me to do a step-by-step tutorial showing you how I make some of my color changing potions, comment below, let me know. And if you make your very own color changing potions, tag me in my socials. I would love to see them. Okay guys, stay magical and I'll see you in the next one.